Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, we have a video titled 20 Winners and Losers This NBA Offseason by Austin Sweat here. So basically, guys, we're going to go through each and every single team here. As he goes through them, I'm going to give you guys my opinion if I agree if they are winners or losers or just like whatever's out there, man. So if you guys do me a quick favor, please drop a like on this video. Would be greatly appreciated. Also, link to Austin's channel in the description below. And here we go, guys. Here we go, man.
Free agency has done more than any other free agency in NBA history has done for the league. Nearly every single team changed their entire roster,
Rose,
which
Detroit!
changed the landscape of everything. I mean, for the first time in years, there's no real championship favorite to start the year.
I agree with that
Anything can
statement,
happen,
for
and
damn
there's
sure.
a ton of teams with a chance to win it all.
Except the Clippers,
but not
Lakers.
every team was so lucky, which is why we still have some losers. But I will say there actually was a lot more winners during free agency. So we'll look at the
always
losers
positive
first,
news.
and then finish the video by looking at the winners, so we can end things off on a good note. To get started, we will say that the Cavs, Bucks, Pistons, Nuggets, Hawks, Spurs, Kings, Rockets, Wizards, and Bulls neither won or lost.
What are you talking about? We got a 17-point per game scorer, Derrick Rose, on a damn good-ass contract. 2 years, like $15 million. People was telling me it was gonna be 2 years, $30 million. How is that not a winning? How is that not a win? Oh my god.
Because they didn't make enough significant moves. But with that said, the first loser is
What about
Charlotte
Seagal
Hornets.
Deboya?
Because they chose not to trade Kemba the past 2 years. And
Yeah,
then
Terry
in free
Rozier on a
agency, they
bitch-ass
ended up having to
contract.
do a sign and trade for him anyways, with him and Terry Rozier straight up.
Big
Which
yikes.
is technically the worst possible trade they could have got for him. Don't get me wrong, I still got faith in Rozier, but all of this was a terrible execution and shows why Charlotte has never been a great team. Plus, they flat out just lost Jeremy Lamb and Frank Kaminsky without getting anything in return.
I mean, Frank Kaminsky, that's kind of addition by subtraction. That's just my own opinion
Then
there.
there's the New York Knicks, who couldn't have possibly done worse this offseason, and no matter how
Stole
far
every
from now
role
it
player in
gets,
the league.
Whenever you look back at this time for the Knicks, it's always going to be one of the most laughable instances of a team coming up short in any sports history. They flat out gave up on Kristaps Porzingis, and rumors even suggest that they turned down a meeting with Kawhi Leonard.
How do
because
you
they
even
were
do
expecting
that?
Zion, KD, and Kyrie, but instead ended up with Taj, Randall, Portis, and Payton.
Hey,
I mean,
they're also going to be getting Marcus Morris now from the Spurs, it sounds like. So, hey.
the Knicks should
That's a W,
really no
I
longer be
think.
thought of as a top-tier team, with the likes of the Celtics and the Lakers. Because year after year, they failed to live up to expectations. The
After
Orlando
year after
Magic
year
were
after
also
year.
clear losers because they re-signed Nikola Vucevic to a max deal.
Who cares about
They should
that?
have traded him a long time ago to clear way for Mo Bamba to develop, but
Hell no.
now that may never even happen.
You hope Mo Bamba turns into an all-star. You already got an all-star in Vucevic. He's only like 28. It's not like he's not some old-ass player. Like, he got like a 4-year deal. In 4 years, he's going to be off the books. In the meantime, though, let's see what happens. I disagree with that 100%. I mean, Mo Bamba might still be a great player, but Vucevic is already an all-star.
I don't know
Work
if
with what you
winning
got
one
and what
playoff
works.
game against the Raptors gave them some sort of false confidence, but they should be
he's
rebuilding
touching
right
his
now,
penis.
not re-signing
Oh my
players
God.
to max contracts who were in their prime.
Both of them were.
Plus, they still didn't even get a quality point guard. And then we have to include the
Markelle
Toronto
Fultz.
Raptors because they lost their superstar in Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, that's
Can we just
unfortunate.
take a minute,
And
though, to
Danny
appreciate
Green.
what an alpha move this was by Kawhi. Gets traded to the Raptors, casually wins them a championship, and then willingly leaves the team because he has so much confidence in his ability to do the same thing for the Clippers.
And nobody hating on him
And
for it
even though
either.
Toronto are losers here, they can't be mad because they knew they were only getting Leonard for one guaranteed year. The Suns' #1 mission this offseason was to get a point guard, and they had a high pick in the draft to be able to do so, but instead traded down and bring in Dario Saric, drafted 2 decent young players, straight up gave away TJ Warren for cash, and then
Cash
once free agency
considerations.
started, they signed Ricky Rubio, and also gave away Josh
Rubio's
Jackson
nice.
in order to do
Rubio's
so.
nice.
I mean, giving away 2 young players and only signing Rubio out of all of the young point guards that were available
D'Lo, good win for
definitely
him.
makes them losers in my mind. And the next is a controversial one because I'm putting the Celtics as losers, but just slightly.
Okay.
Now, Kyrie Irving leaving wasn't the team's fault because that was his own personal thing. And then they did pull off the great move, getting a sign and trade, swapping Terry Rozier
Losing
for
Al
Kemba
Horford
Walker,
is
on
the
top
L.
of also getting Enes Kanter to start for only $5 million a year. But the team lost out on Marcus Morris as well as Al Horford, getting nothing back in return. And that's a lot.
See, I don't know if the Celtics are losers in this, because the fact of the matter, it's, yes, they lost Kyrie, but in a lot of cases, a team losing their star point guard is detrimental to their future. The fact they were able to go out there and convince Kemba Walker to sign, I think that's a W, man. That's a W
for this team overall. And now they're stuck in this
Just
weird
saying.
area of having a couple of solid young players and a couple of solid players in their prime. Personally, I think they would have been better off just going one way or the other, so I'm putting them as losers for now. The Timberwolves are also losers because the only thing they've really done so far is lose out on Derrick Rose.
The great
Maybe if
Derrick
they trade
Rose.
Andrew Wiggins for something good in return before the season starts, then I wouldn't have a problem changing them to winners. And speaking of winners, we can move on to them, starting with the Brooklyn Nets, who've got to be either
KD
the
and Kyrie,
first or
enough said
second
there.
biggest overall winners in the league this offseason, because early on they not only got rid of Allen Crabbe's big contract, but they got Taurean Prince in return, who's still got some potential. Then signed Kyrie, Durant, and DeAndre Jordan all at once, which means they may have lost out on D'Angelo Russell and their young core.
Damn,
that they had
DeAndre's
just
still
a
throwing it.
couple of
Oh, he got a
months
little
ago,
lefty.
but
Okay.
No team in the league would turn down these three
Yo,
guys
Kobe.
to keep a young core
Got
together.
him.
Well, maybe the Knicks. The Knicks would make that kind of decision, but almost nobody else would. The Indiana Pacers also made some solid moves and switched things up. They did lose out on Thaddeus Young and Bojan Bogdanovic,
That's all right.
which is going to be a big
TJ
hit
and
for them
Malcolm.
on both ends, but it also means that DeMontis Sabonis make it his opportunity.
I'm sorry, but Thaddeus Young's getting a bit older. I think TJ Warren's a better scorer than Thaddeus. Thaddeus a little better probably defensively. Bojan, yeah, that's a big loss too. Malcolm Brogdon, who knows? He might be a 24-game scorer on this new team. So I don't really think they lost out. They just kind of replaced.
To start
With
and
younger
they added
players, by
Jeremy
the way.
Lamb and Malcolm Brogdon, which was a great way to make up for it. I mean, they needed to do something to switch things up, and this was a great start, especially considering the amount of potential that I think Brogdon still has. And that's not even to mention the fact that they basically got TJ Warren from
Cash
the Suns
considerations.
for free. The Miami Heat were winners, and I
Really?
still expect them to make a couple
Oh, yeah,
more
I guess
moves
Dirty Baller,
before
yeah.
next season. For now, though, they finally got rid of Hassan Whiteside's contract in exchange for a solid backup center in Myers Leonard, who's probably going to be a better fit in that role. And then, of course, they traded Josh Richardson for Jimmy Butler, which, as we've seen, adding Jimmy will almost automatically make this a playoff team. I wish they would have been able to hold on to Richardson, but I still would have made that trade any day. And it was great for
Gotta
Miami
trade something
because
to get
these were
something.
exactly the type of moves that they needed to make and that I wanted to see from them. I mean, they fixed their salary cap issues, their depth issues, and brought themselves a star. And while we're on the subject of Jimmy Butler, that leads us into the next winners this offseason in the 76ers. The team lost JJ Redick, but he caused defensive issues anyways, and like I said, lost Jimmy Butler, but instead of just flat out losing him, they found a great trade. They retained Tobias Harris and then shockingly signed Al Horford to a near max deal.
I will say, well, the max contract to Al Horford, that's a little crazy, but still, I mean, this next season for the 76ers is gonna be make it or break it. Like, this team either just like gels completely and it's perfect and it's like defensively they're great, offensively they're great, or it just doesn't work and then they're just stuck at that point.
In a move that was really made out of nowhere. Definitely makes this the most stacked starting five in the league, and especially with the Raptors out of the picture and KD being out with an injury this year, you gotta believe that gives this team a near guaranteed finals appearance.
That's an ugly ass jump shot, man. It's so slow.
Winners though was the Dallas Mavericks, mainly because even though they were able to convince
hell was
Kristaps
that?
to
Sticking his
stay,
leg in the
they
air.
didn't really sign the quality role players that I expected them to. They missed out on Kemba, and right now their starting five is looking like it'll be Seth Curry, Hardaway Jr. or Finney Smith at shooting guard, Luka Doncic, Porzingis, and Boban at center.
Boban
It's
starting?
not the worst, but I thought they would do a little bit more. Then the Golden State
Dwight Powell
Warriors
probably
are
starting.
clearly winners. Getting D'Angelo Russell for KD when they should have gotten nothing in return was a huge win. The
I
only
agree with
downside
that.
though was losing out on Iguodala, but I mean basically trading him for a max player is always going to be a win. Plus, adding Willie Cauley-Stein on a near minimum deal means that this team is still a real threat in the Western Conference. And then we have the Los Angeles Clippers. Kawhi Leonard joining the
www.
Clippers was like a season finale level
www.winners.com,
it was
man.
rumored that he ruled out the Clippers and instead was in deep talks with the Lakers. And then he had everyone in the NBA desperately hoping that he wasn't going to go there and they
You know
weren't
he
going
was
to get
trolling,
another
bro, on
dominant
purpose.
big three. Right when the Warriors broke up, then at the last minute not only gives us one of the biggest plot twists in recent
Bro, I wanna go
memory,
hoop
but
right
the
now,
Clippers
man.
created a super
Watching
team of
these
their
highlights.
own, giving them Paul George and
Kobe,
Kawhi
got
Leonard
'em.
in their primes. And they're going to be good for a long time, so the picks that they had to give up for PG aren't going to matter too much for the next few years. And it's just crazy, because I mean in my 10 greatest what ifs video that I made just a couple of months ago, one of them was what if the Pacers never traded Kawhi Leonard.
Well, there you
on
go. You got
draft
them both
night,
together.
and
We'll
the fact
figure
that
it
we
out.
would get to see himself and PG-13 team up. And now we're actually going to get to see that happen this year. And all of this, plus keeping their core group together,
Pacer
is
fans
what, in
about to
my
be so
opinion,
sad, man.
give them the best offseason out of anyone this year. And speaking of a former OKC player, that brings us to the Thunder. And even though they lost their superstar...
Oh, I mean... Yeah, I agree with this one. Short term, it's an L. Well, I don't know, because those draft picks might be trash. This is a controversial one, man. Would you guys think OKC took a W or no? Let me know in the comments.
And are trying to trade Westbrook. I still have them as big-time winners.
Big-time
because they
winners,
got a
wow.
great deal for George. And even better than that, they recognize the fact that it was time for them to start things over. I mean, they were stacked up against the salary cap this year, and they couldn't improve the team anymore. Plus, they had been losing in the first
tried
round,
harder.
so there really wasn't too
got
much
JJ
more they
Redick.
could do. They're already winners, but if they can find a solid trade for Russ, they'll be that much better off. I really don't know if they'll be able to find a trade, though.
Reggie
and it'll be
Jackson,
even
2
harder
second-round
to find
picks.
one to get young assets in return like they want. I mean, they're looking to trade a ball-dominant point guard in the middle of his prime that needs a system put around him for it to work. The only few teams that come to mind that could make a trade happen are the Heat, Magic, and Pistons.
Yeah,
The
Detroit,
Magic
there we
have
go.
most young assets to give up, but a Westbrook trade wouldn't really make
Guys,
sense.
gonna have Drummond.
The Pistons still desperately need a point guard, and I'm sure would do whatever it takes to get Westbrook. But right now, the Heat look most likely to land him, and they could offer a package
guess.
revolving around a guy like Justice Winslow. So there are a couple of possible scenarios out there. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But then the Los Angeles Lakers are also big winners this offseason. Some people might disagree
AD, Quinn
based on the
Cook,
fact
yeah.
that they didn't get a third star or too many quality role players thanks to Kawhi's master plan, but that's looking at the glass half empty.
DeMarcus.
They were still able to land Quinn Cook, who has potential, Danny Green, DeMarcus Cousins, and Anthony Davis all in one offseason. It might not be what they or everyone else was expecting, but given the situation, that's a lot of great players. And then changing gears, the Memphis Grizzlies very quietly became one of the biggest winners out of everyone. with
Really?
all
Why's
the moves
that?
they made. First, they landed John Morant, traded Mike Conley for Kyle Korver, Jake Crowder.
Okay, if we're going to include draft picks in this, then how the hell is the Pelicans, or not, yeah, well, people that were actually drafted, how are we not including the Pelicans? I mean, come on, getting Zion, trading Anthony Davis away, how are we not including them? We're talking about the offseason, right?
Grayson Allen and 2 first-round picks. Then got rid of
Pelicans
Chandler
gotta be here for
Parsons'
damn
terrible
sure.
contract. Got Josh Jackson, who's not too much to be happy about, but they got him for
Who
next
knows?
to nothing.
Could be something.
And the same with Andre Iguodala, who they basically landed because they had the salary space to take his contract on. So he'll be a huge trade asset this year. And then they created salary space by trading for Dwight Howard and waiving him right away. Memphis has been making some power moves, and it's made all these under-the-radar deals that's leading them to a bright future coming up. Another bright future is the Pelicans.
Okay,
who
I'm sorry.
already
I should have
know
watched the
make it
rest of the
here
video.
because
I'm
of the Lakers trade. But on top of that, they did a great job with getting
I'm sorry.
Derek Favors and JJ Redick. I don't really know how Favors fits in, but I mean, Redick was cheap for them, and his shooting the space out the floor with a team of not so great shooters is going to be huge. It's going to help them run plays, open up the floor for these young guys, and most importantly, give them another
They're just going to
locker
triple
room
team
leader.
JJ
Then a
Redick.
team that I didn't think was going to be able to make any moves this season made some great ones in the Portland
Love what
Trailblazers.
Portland did getting Hassan
They
Whiteside on
basically
a
swapped
contract
Evan
here.
Turner for Kent Bazemore in the deal that I wish they made years ago, because it gives Portland the perfect 3-and-D player for their system. And then they traded for Hassan Whiteside, which helps out huge because they've been desperate for help off the bench and only had to give up Mo Harkless and Myers Leonard to get it. And that'll even free up almost $30 million of cap space next year.
That's
I
insane,
will say
man.
though, a team who may want to free up cap space even more is the Cavs. And they just so happen to have Kevin Love on a $30 million a year
There we go, trade him
contract.
away.
So Whiteside for Kevin Love could be the perfect trade for both teams. And then finally, the last winner is the Utah Jazz. And I love what Utah was able to do this year. They let a few guys walk, but
Utah
got
is my
Mike
dark
Conley
horse in the
and a
West
major
to
improvement
win
at
it all.
point guard, and
To win
really
it all.
didn't have to give up too much for him. Then got a top-tier wing defender and solid scorer on offense in Bojan Bogdanovic, and signed Jeff Green and Ed Davis.
They got Jeff Green?
They'll
I
be
didn't hear
playing
about
small
that.
with Bojan at the
Since
4,
when?
but I think they play better with a stretch 4 anyways. So now their 5 is Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Joe Ingles, Bojan, and Rudy Gobert. And for a team that didn't make too many moves during the regular season, it was great to see them change things up so much in the offseason. But that's going to wrap things up. Comment
Okay,
down below
guys,
if you're
that
thinking
is the end of the video right there. I agree with most of these. I thought Austin Sweat. I feel like when it comes to winners and losers, it's pretty self-explanatory this offseason, man. Like, we know which players are good, we know which players are bad, we know which teams got screwed out. So, yeah, pretty good list, I would say, man. Hope you guys all enjoyed. Be sure to drop that like, subscribe if you're new to my channel, and peace out, my friends.